Hi, welcome to Sean's Good Time Sports Podcast. We'll be doing a live draft today for fantasy football. We're about to get it going, so stay tuned. 4 minutes and 46 seconds until draft time. Do not need this to freeze.
So who are you planning to draft?
I mean, if I could pick one, I really like Christian McCaffrey. I love what he does in the running game and the passing game. I mean, he really does it all. I mean, you talk about a complete player in the game of football. I mean, there's nothing he can't do. I mean, blocking game, running game, passing game. He's the all-around player. I mean, that's the guy you want on your team. I mean, he does it all. So that would be the guy I want first. But when you look at the quarterbacks, you have Lamar, you have Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray. I mean, those guys are the complete package when you talk about quarterbacks. You get rushing yards, throwing yards for those guys, rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Those guys they really have it all when you look at them from the perspective of fantasy. I mean, those guys are the top guys, all around. And in receivers, I mean, Michael Thomas is just a complete stud. I mean, he really showed everyone last year what he's capable of. I mean, talk about the 50-50 balls in the red zone. I mean, he just goes up and grabs them. I mean, and, the addition of Emmanuel Sanders this offseason, I mean, you got to think about it. The double teams are not going to be there anymore because when you add a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, I mean, there's no double team in that offense now. You got to look at, Jared Cook's there. This is top-notch players on that side of the ball. I mean, Alvin Kamara and the passing game with Drew Brees, I mean, they spread the ball out there in New Orleans. I mean, that's the top receiver. Obviously, Julio Jones, you love what Julio does, but honestly, the thing that I'm worried about with Julio is you look at his last couple of years in fantasy, the touchdowns just really haven't been there. The receiving yards are there, but I think, the thing I like that the Falcons did, they traded to get Hayden Hurst from Baltimore. I think he really opens up the passing game. Todd Gurley, you got Todd Gurley there, but, the thing is, we don't know what Todd Gurley we're getting. You hope it's Todd Gurley from 2 years ago. I mean, he led the league in rushing. I mean, that's what you hope you're getting from Todd Gurley. I don't really trust Matt Ryan, but, those top two receivers, you know what you're getting out of those guys. They're specimens to the game. I mean, those guys are freaks, that's the thing. So, those are the two receivers you want, and there's arguments with these other receivers, Devontae Adams. I mean, can he stay healthy though? I think there's only one receiver.
Devontae Adams, if he like I said, if he can stay healthy, I mean, it's gonna be a threat for Green Bay. The main thing for Green Bay is if those guys can stay healthy. Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. I mean, that was a big situation for Green Bay last year. When you talk about what happened with them, there's a lot of pressure on the coach and, Aaron Rodgers. So those guys can stay healthy, especially Devontae Adams. I mean, look for him to be a real threat, being a top 5 receiver. I think he doesn't get enough credit. Like we were talking about the injuries, so we'll see what he does this year. I'm excited to see what he does. He had a great year last year.
So what pick are you?
Let me see. Wow, pick number 1. I'm going to get McCaffrey. But we got a minute until draft time, so just stay tuned, guys. Damn. Can't let me get McCaffrey. It's awesome.
Anybody else you're looking at?
I do a lot of money fantasy leagues. My thing always is going for 2 running backs. If you can get 2 stud running backs, in fantasy, it's huge. It's really gonna make you have a great record and a good playoff push when time comes. If I can get 3 really good running backs, that just people hate seeing that when you play your opponent in fantasy every week. If you see a guy with 3 running backs, you're like, oh my god, I had to deal with this. I look to get 3 if the third running back or the second running back's not there, I like to go receiver. You know, this is probably the most stacked class in fantasy football when you talk about the receivers. I mean, you look at the rookie class that came in. I mean, there's guys that could be studs right off the gate. Jared Judy, CeeDee Lamb. There's a lot of guys out there that could be huge threats this year in fantasy, and I'm excited for the receiving core. I would love to see how it plays out. I'm really happy for the NFL, the players that we got in here. And same thing with the running back. We talked about the class last year, the running back class last year. Look at the running back class this year. I mean, there's some real killers out there. You know, J.K. Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor. Those guys are awesome. All right. So the draft's beginning in 5 seconds. I'm so excited. I'm getting Christian. All right. We're in. All right. I'm gonna... It's about to start. All right. I'm going to lock it in with McCaffrey. You know, what McCaffrey brings to the table, I mean, when you talk about the rushing yards, the receiving yards, you know, the rushing touchdowns, the receiving touchdowns, I mean, he's an animal. I mean, we saw what he did last year. You know, I think he was third in MVP votings. I mean, the guy's a killer. I mean, he's exciting to watch. He's awesome to watch, you know. That's the best thing about McCaffrey. He's so exciting to watch. But, you know, when you talk about the guy's stats, I mean, he's a straight killer. I mean, rushing yards, 1,387, 15 rushing touchdowns, and then he had 1,005 receiving yards with four receiving touchdowns. I mean, the guy's a killer. So, you know, that's exciting to watch. And I think his stats will be the same. You know, I think with the quarterback situation they had with Cam going down, and now them having Teddy Bridgewater, I look for them, you know, for him to have a really big season again this year. I'm excited. All right, so pick number 2. This is a stretch for me. I don't trust him. Dalvin Cook, you know, he's talking about, you know, he might not play. And, you know, the money situation. I mean, the guy deserves the money. He reminds me of a guy like Zeke. I mean, when you talk about those running backs that put their head down, and, I mean, Zeke and Saquon and Dalvin, they're all the same type of running back. I think Zeke leads the pack for them. But, yeah, no, Dalvin Cook deserves the money. I mean, he looks great. If you've seen his off-season videos, I mean, this is the best shape Dalvin's looked in. I mean, I'd really like to see him get on the field. But we don't know if Dalvin Cook's going to play. That's the problem. So I don't like that pick, you know, it could bite him. You know, it's like with the whole Andrew Luck and Antonio Brown thing last year. That, you know, people that drafted them, those guys didn't end up playing. So we'll see how it plays out for this guy. I don't like that pick. I would have went Zeke, but, you know, that's me. Pick 3, Zeke Elliott. You know, I think, you know, I don't think Zeke gets enough credit, but I think with the Dallas offense now, you know, Dak wants to get paid. You know he's going to have a great performance this year. But look at the receivers Dallas has there. You know, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. They got another one over there too. And, you know, a big sleeper for me this year, Blake Jarwin. Dallas's offense is going to be really effective this year. They're going to be hard to stop. And I think, you know, now with Zeke, you can't drop the safeties and stack the box against Dallas anymore. So it's kind of like pick your poison. You know, I think Zeke has a huge year. I wouldn't be surprised if he led the league in rushing. I think he has a giant year, and I'm excited for Zeke. You know, Zeke's one of the guys I want to draft. Coming into it, you know, I didn't think I'd get McCaffrey being the first pick. My guy was going to be Zeke. Good for him. That's a great pick. I love it. Not surprised at all. Saquon Barkley. I know we brought it up. He's, you know, Zeke's the guy at running back. When you talk about those running backs like that, I think Saquon has a good year. The thing about Saquon is he doesn't have the options that Dallas has out there. You know, I don't trust Daniel Jones at all. You know, I like Daniel. I think he had a good year, but I don't trust him. The receiving core in the Giants, you know, it's all right. You know, it's not Dallas. Dallas has an argument of having the best receiving core. I mean, they could argue with anyone. You know, the Giants receivers are good, but it's not going to make you stack the box on the Giants. So, you know, I like the move though. I mean, I would have done the same thing at probably pick 4, but you know, Zeke's the guy. Everyone's chasing Zeke that runs like that. So, pick 5. It's a little risky. Rookie Clyde Edwards. I didn't have him as the best running back coming out of the draft. I had J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. But the situation with the Chiefs. I think Clyde Edwards fits perfect for them. I would have liked. I think it would have been smart for them going with J.K. or Jonathan Taylor. They fit perfect with the Ravens and the Colts of what they're trying to do. Those running backs, they put their head down and they just keep pumping their legs. So, really good. He's good, but I think that's a risk at pick 5. I don't know if I like that. Alvin Kamara. He's a guy. He reminds me of Christian McCaffrey. When you talk about the complete running backs that do it all, those are usually the top 2 for me. Alvin Kamara's a beast. And no one thinks about this. He was hurt all year and played off injury. So Kamara, I am having a huge year. Look back the year before last year. I think we're gonna start seeing those numbers again. He was hurt. I think that Drew Brees went down. That definitely hurt his numbers. Because Drew loves getting the ball to Kamara. So I think he'll have a bounce back year. He was hurt, so I love Kamara. Michael Thomas, not a surprise at all here. We brought it up. He's the best receiver in the game right now, going off last year. He goes up and grabs the ball. He's a freak. Can't say anything bad about Michael Thomas. All-around good guy, too. So, great pick for him. Michael Thomas is going to be a really hell of a player this year. And he's getting help from Emmanuel Sanders. We already brought it up, but Emmanuel Sanders, there's no double teaming that offense now. Jared Cook and those guys over there. I'm excited for that Saints offense. Can't wait to see Michael Thomas play. Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry. I've drafted him the last 3 years in fantasy, 3 to 4. I think he has a giant year. The thing I'm worried about him now is those defense. They're going to stack the box now, and all the credit to him. We saw what he did in the playoffs to New England and Baltimore. But, they're going to stack the box again. They're going to drop 2 safeties down. They're going to let him know, hey, man, you're not going to be running the ball on us like you did. And it's all going to have to do, what that offense can do around that, Do I trust Ryan Tannehill? Not so much. He got paid. If he has another year like last year, he deserves the money. But for right now, we got to see what happens because these teams are going to start stacking the box against the Titans, I think their year to win it was last year. They stripped a lot of defensive players down to keep, Tannehill and Derrick Henry. But we'll see how it plays out for them. I don't look for them to having the year they had last year, but we'll see. Davante Adams, we just talked about him. I think if that guy can stay healthy, we're looking at a huge year for him. And also if Aaron Jones can stay healthy with him. When you have those 3 players out there, Rodgers, Davante, Aaron Jones, and the coach having the second year, it's going to be huge, I think. But I look for a big year for Davante Adams. No surprise at all. I think he could have gone before. DeAndre Hopkins. I think the new scenery is going to be huge for him playing with Kyler. And look at the receiving core around them. Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. That's a great receiving core to have over there. I'm excited to watch that Cardinals offense. I think, and the thing is, I have Kyler Murray being 3rd in MVP voting this year. I think he has a huge year. I think Hopkins has a better year than he did last year, and I also think you're going to see Hopkins be the number 1 receiver this year in the whole NFL. I think things could play out, but Hopkins, I like what's going on with them. All right, so that's the end of round 1. Where were we? Yep. All right. I'm going to be on the board soon. Nick Chubb, great running back. He's a beast. Look what he did in our division. You talk about a division that likes to hit. Nick Chubb, he's an animal. I love everything Nick Chubb did. You just pull up the highlights of Nick Chubb. The guy's all time. He's getting help from Kareem Hunt back there, and they got receivers and tight ends over there in Cleveland.